You are listening to the Slowly Dying Podcast with Becca.
Check yourself. Check. Week after I cried at the bowling alley.
And Bronte.
Oh my God, what have I done?
What do you mean? I haven't heard from you in months. We talk about everything and anything.
I could tell she was frustrated just by how she was throwing the... I'm the only one who does it the best.
And turn in every Monday for a brand new episode.
I did not know, though.
What? Like, you were freaking out.
Let's get it popping.
That's what I'm talking about.
Good morning, guys. It is 3 a.m. and what's poppin'? It's your girl, Becca. As you guys know, I work night shift, so my sleeping schedule is all messed up. Like, I went to bed at 8 p.m. because I was so tired, and now I'm up at I woke up at 2. So it's currently 3:28, and I'm making a rant. But it is what it is. So pretty much good morning to you guys. I wanted to talk about communication. As you guys know, I'm doing a co-parenting series rant. And like I said before, it is weird. Like, I feel like I'm talking to myself. It's hard not to bounce ideas back and forth, with Bronte. But I think, she doesn't have any kids. When she has kids, she's going to be a wonderful mother. She's like the sweetest person. But until then, it's just me on the rant. And like I said, I want to talk about communication because I think it's one of the most important things that you can talk about when you're talking about co-parenting, because it's honestly the foundation of everything. I think it's the foundation, whether you're talking about co-parenting, whether you're talking about regular relationships, whether you're talking about family. I mean, it is what it is. We have to talk to be able to communicate. And not all communication is verbal. You guys got to realize that too. It's nonverbal too. It's like the way that you're holding your body, it's the way that, how your facial expressions are. So that's a big thing too. I didn't even think about that. Cause usually what I do, when I do rants or me and Bronte will do an episode is I'll write little bullet points to keep me on track. But sometimes things just pop up when I'm talking. So like I said, it's the biggest issue, miscommunication. It's just honestly crazy, how much miscommunication there is with co-parenting, especially when you do it over text or sometimes even over the phone. Cause like I said, you can't see the person's face. You cannot read their body language. You might be reading the text in as a way that they're just trying to be nice, but you think that they're being, like an asshole, and they're really not. So I think, that at least between me and my son's father, we have a lot of miscommunication in the past. I believe we're getting better. I mean, we still argue, which is whatever, but I think that, looking back at all the text that we would argue about, I think there was a lot of miscommunication. But it is what it is. You just got to take with it and you got to roll with it. I think the whole point of, some people out there, and I've said this before in day one, this is not to get back at my baby daddy. This is not to get, put him under the bus or whatever I say does not always include him. I might say, oh, you can have this problem, but that doesn't mean me and my son's father have that problem. I just want to make that clear. Like I said before, if he listens to it, he listens to it. It is what it is. I speak nothing but the truth. But, so I think, with me, me personally, I think communication, I didn't want to communicate. I just wanted to, raise Willie and be the best mom I can. But I had to realize I had to communicate with his father because his father is in his life. And that's, that's a great thing. And Willie loves his dad, and he loves me. I love Willie, though, but he's my favorite. But I had to realize that, yes, I'm doing this for my son, and I'm trying to, be a better person, because not everybody, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I think it was taking control back, because when I was in a relationship, control was taken away from me. So now, now that I look back and I'm like, okay, I've worked on communication, I've done this. It's trial and error. I'll share a couple things that I do that work for me personally and work for my son. Some people might like this idea, some people might not. Everybody's different, but I think that, it was all about me taking control and me being the best mom to Willie. And honestly, 100%, that's all that matters. Honestly, me and Willie, focus on me and Willie, and that is it. It's just me and him. But, is you also cannot control the other person. I've said this in multiple rants. I've said this multiple episodes of, like, when I do, episodes with Bronte, is it's hard because you just want the other person to be like, why are you acting so stupid? Why can't you understand? Are you that dumb? You know what I mean? Like the normal thoughts that everybody has when they're arguing or like having a communication issue, but it's like, you can't control the other person. If they're going to act like an idiot, they're going to act like an idiot. If they are going to play dumb, I've noticed a lot of parents will play dumb and be like, oh, I forgot. Well, honestly, if you're constantly forgetting about things that involve your child, then that's a problem. Maybe you need to be a little bit more, what's the word I want? Maybe a little bit more involved in your child's life, or get a planner, get organized. Because like I said in, the first rant, kids thrive off of a schedule. It is what it is. So what I do, sorry, I'm like jumping all around the places. So I just wanted to share how I communicate. Of course, like if he texts me, my son's father texts me, he's like, how's Willie? Or like, whatever, I'll answer. But what I do is like, if Willie had a dentist appointment, I would always text him that day and be like, oh, Willie had a dentist appointment, or like, oh, Willie met his teacher, or like whatever was happening that day, I would text him. But I felt like there was a lot of miscommunication. I was spending way too much time texting him. And I feel like it didn't matter what I texted him because it didn't care, or maybe there's a miscommunication there. I don't know. So what I do is my son's father gets him every other Thursday or every other weekend. He picks him up Thursday night. And what I do is I do a communication text where, like I'll put like all my communication of that day. So he knows this is what happened in the last 2 weeks that you haven't seen Willie. Of course, if there's an emergency or Willie's sick, or something that needs to be shared right then and there that day, I will share it. But that works for me. And yeah, so that's what works for me. And then I have a group chat with his family because I don't have social media, personal social media. I just added a Snapchat back, but whatever, Snapchat's crazy. But like I said, I don't like post on like Instagram or Facebook where they were able to see my son in the past. So what I do is I do a group chat and I just send pictures like randomly, like whenever I get a chance, because I'm really busy all the time. So they can still see like what Willie's doing and pictures of Willie. And so that's how I communicate. I'll get more into, what I do for like actual documentation process, in the next couple of rants. But we also have been through a lot of arguing. And I think now, of course you want to argue back because it feels good to argue. Sometimes you just have to argue, to get your point across or just let it out. Sometimes like when we argue now, I just don't even text back, and I argue with him, he argues with me. It is what it is. It's life. Everybody argues, but we do not argue in front of Willie, because that's the most important. We keep it very positive. And yeah, so hopefully that just keeps getting better. This is so weird talking to myself. Another point I wanted to add before I close this is keep it between you and your co-parent, because, when family gets involved, there's nothing wrong with venting to a friend or venting to a family member. But if you have the grandma and the grandpa involved, absolutely not, because they probably don't know the whole story. You know what I mean? How you always view the baby mama as crazy, and it's once you find out the whole story, you're like, oh, wow, she's really not crazy. Maybe he's an asshole. Or maybe it's the other way around. You never know. But it's keep it between you and the co-parent. If you need to, like I said, I've been to sometimes my friends, I'll talk to or, I'll ask other single parents. I'll be like, okay, have you had this problem? And 9 times out of 10, they have the same problem. And then you can vent and try to be like, oh, well, I didn't see it that way. But if you're constantly talking to your family about your baby mama, or the other way around, it's keep it between you guys. Or if you can't, take it in front of a judge. Because that's when shit gets popping, and that's when it's real. When you're in front of the judge, it's there ain't no BS. You know what I mean? So that's what I've noticed in the past. I feel like certain family members have gotten involved, and I'm like, oh, okay, or my family tries to get involved, and it's no. It just, I think it just creates a whole little circle of unhealthiness. And I think there's a lot of trauma that comes with that if you get family involved. And I'll talk more about that in the next couple rants that I'm going to do. That's all I have to say about that one. And don't be surprised. I think the biggest thing for me was with lies. Like when people lie, like I cannot stand people who lie. I cannot do it. I don't know what it is. I've always been like this. It really bothers me when people lie to me. So, whether it's co-parenting or family or whatever, like I can't stand lies. I'd rather you tell me the truth. So like, when you throw in miscommunication and lies, I think it's very hard to deal with. But again, it goes back to when you're not in control of a situation, you need to take control of the situation. And if you have to take control of the situation by communicating a different way or a way that works for you, then sweetheart, go ahead and do it. As long, and I'm going to get, like I said, I'm going to get this in another rant, is as long as your communication, like always make sure, don't ever communicate anything. Hold on. I'm like stuttering. Hold on. Don't ever communicate anything that you would not want in court. That is like the biggest thing. And always document. I'm a nurse, so I document all the time, so I'm used to it. But I'll explain how I document communication in another rant. And just, it's a lifelong process. And it's really hard and it's stressful, but it will get easier. And I think that's all I have to say about communication, at least for right now. I think, in the next upcoming rants, I will talk more, little like tips about communication or, things that I forgot. But I think this is like a big, thing for me to talk about, like I said in the first rant, because it's such a sensitive topic, and I've had people like, oh, well, don't like, aren't you afraid Willie's going to find out? And I'm like, by the time Willie listens to my podcast, he'll probably be 15 or 16. And I'll probably sit him down and have explained things to him because he's going to ask, kids ask, like he's going to realize I'm not with his son's father, and I think, hopefully when he has a child one day, if he decides to, maybe he can be like, oh, well, my mom did this, or, maybe I can try this, or, it is what it is. But I'm going to get off here because I have to get a couple things done. I know it's crazy. It's like 3:30 in the morning, but I need to do laundry, clean the house, stuff like that. But I hope you guys are enjoying the rants, and I've had people reach out to me saying that this specific rants have helped them, and it's like I said, something that's not talked about and it needs to be. So if you want to reach out to me, I have my personal Snapchat if you know me personally, or reach out through email or Instagram. We have that as Slowly 9 RNs. Because like I said, if it just helps one person, it's all worth it. And plus it helps me to get it out there because I actually have a voice. Because for the longest time I didn't have a voice and I was very controlled. So now I have control of the situation, and that's very important. Always have control of the situation. Sometimes you lose it and you have a crazy panic attack. Okay, have a panic attack and then gain control again. As long as you're truly happy, and I honestly can say I'm 110% happy. Like, I love life. Doesn't mean life is not hard and life can be a bitch, but I'm really thriving right now. I don't know why I'm talking to you guys like this, but but all right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. This is Becca, and I'm popping off.